today, as we wrap this story up, what I want to take a look at first is something new. And this one's a little bit easier to explain than our friend foreshadowing. Not foreshadowing, but irony. Irony was a tough one to explain. This one I think we'll have a little easier time with. And just to clarify, we should be on page 2. You guys all are beautiful. So, what we're going to be talking about today is symbolism. Does anybody happen to know what symbolism is? Yeah. It symbolizes something that has a meaning. Is that what you said? So, if I can just add to that a little bit, it symbolizes something. Sorry, it's when one thing stands for something else. So something is not just what it appears to be, but it's even more than that. So I want to give you some examples that I think will be familiar to you. One of the books we've read that was most replete with symbolism, in fact it was like on every page. You guys want to take a guess which book it was? Pardon? Not a book, short story. The Pearl. The Pearl was page after page of symbolism, where things were one thing, but also stood for something else. Let me give you some examples. How about the scorpion, the stum coyotito? We'll start off with an easy one. What does scorpion stand for? Sir, thank you. Thank you. He's got the big cap on today. The scorpion stood for evil. How about the doctor? Stepping up the rigor a little bit here. Greed, beautiful. What else? Perhaps the devil. Okay, we toyed with that idea a little bit. Do you remember what some of the themes from that story? Really, guys? One of the themes from that story was rich versus poor. It was a major theme. So what did the doctor stand for? What did he symbolize? Pardon me? The rich, okay. The rich, or maybe colonialism, or racism. Okay, he could have stood or been a symbol of or a part of all these different things. Finally, last example, because it was a really fascinating example in the Pearl, because it changes or evolves as the Pearl progresses. The Pearl itself, in the beginning of the story, what did the Pearl stand for, Antonio? Let me ask you a little more traditional way. What did the Pearl mean for his family? In the beginning of the story, when he first found it. How? So it represented, it was a symbol of hope. It was a symbol of freedom. It was because he could now have all those things that the rich white people had, the rich Europeans had, right? What did the Pearl come to symbolize as it progressed through the story? Go ahead, so you don't need to raise your hand, guys, please.
It stands for the despair that they had throughout the story.
Just so it symbolized despair. Okay. What else could it have symbolized? What overcame greed? Thank you very much, because I couldn't remember the main character's name there for a second. So it came to symbolize greed and all that was wrong with the world. So guys, that was a long-winded way of saying sometimes one thing is a symbol for something else. Sometimes, if I'm looking around over there, a maze can be a symbol for confusion. The sea can be a symbol for chaos. Rivers are often symbols or archetypes of life, all right, or of life or choice, or it can be freedom too. Rivers have a lot of symbolism associated with it. What I want you to do, and forgive me for talking so long, is I want you to apply your close reading strategies. I want you to read, and I know it's small, but if I can read it, you can. I want you to read this section of text right here. And I want you to focus on the idea that sometimes things aren't just what they appear to be. I want you to focus on, 1 second, what does the general's home symbolize? Conversely, and that's a hint, what does the jungle symbolize? So read it twice, clarify unknown words, dig that out. I'll be with you in a second. Go for it. I'm going to do it with you. Got it. Give you about 30 more seconds. Just let me talk over you as you read. Take note of the vivid description of the general's home. He's spending this much. Authors of this caliber don't make mistakes. They don't spend time on things that don't warrant it. Okay? Authors of this caliber are about meaning, not fluff. They're not going to spend 2 paragraphs describing something that doesn't have meaning. Don't expect you to come up with the answer like that. Let's talk through it a little bit. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to read that, and then let's talk through it a bit. And I think having a point of comparison or juxtaposition is going to help. I know it's absurd, but I can fit it all in. Does anybody else need more time to finish reading it? Medical? Okay. So, I want to approach this way. Again, I hate to beat a dead horse here, but there are no mistakes. No mistakes in good literature, all right? And no flaws. So, if that's the case, just lost my elbow. The author just spent 3 paragraphs talking about this space. Tell me about this space, Soda. Yeah, simple stuff. This isn't a rocket science question. Surface stuff. What do you see?
It's organized and very.
What'd you say? Okay, good. You guys are just killing us. Organized. You do not need to write this down. Modern. What else? From? Oh, beautiful. Elegant. Lovely word. What's elegant about it? Well, everything's of the finest. Talk Umberto. Big man. What do you mean? What does she mean? Everything's of the finest. Give me examples.
The animal heads and
Okay, the animal heads are from all regions of the world, okay? But when she says everything's of the finest, it's elegant. Well, what do you see that's on there? I mean, that's up. What are they eating? Borscht, okay. What are they drinking? Not just wine. No, but it's important. They're drinking, what are they drinking? They're drinking champagne. If you wanted to say wine, who would have said wine? No mistakes. No mistakes in an author of this caliber. Okay. Now, I didn't have room to put this. Describe the jungle to me.
Dangerous.
Spread out. Dangerous. Talk to me about dangerous, Umberto.
the animals, the swamp.
The animals, the swamp, the crazy dude hunting him. Okay? Anything else? How do you think it looks? What'd you say? Musty. Okay, that's how it feels and smells. Good. Okay, humid. Fantastic. Okay, now guys, I want to go back to what we were talking about before. Things aren't always what they appear to be. Okay? Or they're what they appear to be. Like the pearl was a symbol for something else. Like the doctor was a symbol for all colonial white people from Europe. Okay? What do you think the general's house is a symbol of? It's put in juxtaposition, or it's put alongside this jungle. Think of it in that context and it'll help you. I want you to give you a moment to think. And think about the word to use. If you can read my scribble, there it is. Think about the word to use to describe it. Tough one. Popcorn. Does anybody just shout it out? Does anybody have? Who's power? Okay, it symbolizes the home symbolizes power. Okay, I don't want you guys. I'm going to do the scribbling. You guys don't need to do anything. Power. I want to maybe highlight a word here for you. Organized. Is the jungle organized? Okay, so the jungle is not organized. So Organization. What's the opposite of organization?
Disorder.
Just your stud. Love the word. Disorder. Another good word is chaos. Disorder or chaos. So, any thoughts on what the house might symbolize?
Like choice, I guess. A choice, because either I guess like this big house you see that I guess you can say that it's very elegant. I guess you can either choose to like knock on the door, and then like I guess like talk to the people there. You can just continue through the
Okay.
jungle.
Okay. So, I want to table this. I don't, just the way this is progressing, I want to pause this for a second and reflect on it myself. And see how I can take us where we want to go without handing it to you on a silver platter. Much like the chess thing, which, by the way, if you ask me about it today, I will tell you. But I see some fantastic words: organized and modern, disorder and chaos. Okay, we're going to focus on those words next time we talk about this. What I want you guys to do now, as a group, is do the other two. And I want you to go backwards with it. So please do theme, identify a theme and two pieces of evidence. Okay, I think you'll find that the themes are reasonably obvious in this story, and there's many of them. And then please make sure and finish up by today. All right? Good job, guys. Really good job. Do not use the same theme. So there's multiple themes in this story. Do not use the same one you used the other day. Can you say that a little louder, Dave? So what were we thinking of there?
Well, what I said was fear, and because like when he first got introduced to like the hound, or the eyes above the house, I guess, you know, probably would have freaked him out, kind of, but the thing that I thought was man versus man.
There's a ton of evidence for man versus man. There's also a ton of evidence for man versus nature. If you had to describe this story in one word, what would it be? If you had to tell somebody, what is the story about, and when you got to choose one word, what would it be?
Writing.
Okay. So it sounds like you're a man versus man guy, as far as the theme goes. What do you say? I'm sorry. Fear. Okay. So perhaps it's for you, the major theme in this is fear. All right, guys. And for some reason, my timer isn't working, guys. So we'll come back to this. It's time to rotate. Time to rotate, guys. My timer isn't working. Forgive me. The timer's working, but the sound is not. Right, guys. So we're gonna try to scratch the surface of something we're gonna talk about. We made a little progress to the last group. I'm gonna see if we can push it a little bit further back. Today, we're gonna be talking about, it's actually working. We're gonna be talking about something called symbolism. And symbolism is a fairly straightforward concept. Symbolism is found when, in literature, when one thing represents a larger idea, when one thing represents something else. One book we read this year that was replete, full of symbolism was The Pearl. The Pearl had a ton of it, from the pearl itself down to, I can't believe I keep forgetting, who's the main character in The Pearl? Kino, jeez, thank you. To Kino's canoe. All these things were symbols of something. Does anybody happen to remember let's say the scorpion. What was that a symbol of? Again, symbols are average things that often stand for a larger idea.
Yeah, it's Coyotito and they took it to the mountain.
Okay, but that is what it did. That was a surface level meaning. Go ahead.
It represents evil.
It represented evil. Okay? The scorpion represents evil. We talked a lot about that. Remember, we also talked about snakes? You guys are on those? I'm going back to the beginning of the year here. Animals, there are certain animals that are often associated with evil. Let's get another example here from the Pearl. How about the doctor? What did the doctor represent? No, not, okay, but that's, okay, so, Plano, descriptors, those words you're using that describe him, those are gonna lead you to what the symbol is. Okay, so, but that's not the symbol itself. So he was mean. What else was he? He was fat. No, but we talked about that. If you remember, he was a look. Well, let's just call him fat. He was fat because that's what they call it. He was a fat man, and we talked about the meaning of that in the story. It wasn't an accident that he was fat. What else was he? Okay, and so think about those descriptors. He was overweight. He was rich. What color skin did he have? He was white.
He was racist.
He was racist. He was greedy. What did he represent? Very nice guess. But in the case of this story, he represented not America, but European colonialism in general. So the idea of white people coming to populate or take over, let's be frank, take away land of non-white people, right? How about the pearl? The pearl itself was fascinating because in the beginning of the story it represents one thing, but by the end of the story, that story didn't go so well if you remember. It represented something else. What did it represent in the beginning of the story? Hope. What do you mean by that? And you're straight on right.
Because like they didn't have money for all the things they wanted, and I think that was hope.
They didn't have money, and so hope that money could bring them education, food, a new home, an actual home. Okay, so it represented all these things for him, right? So oftentimes in good literature, one thing will stand for something else. In The Most Dangerous Game, the home of the general stands for something else. In The Most Dangerous Game, the jungle stands for something else. Okay? What I want you to do is I want you to read this section of text Apply your close reading strategies, read it twice, highlight important parts, annotate. Read this section of text. Pay attention to, thank you, Lino, descriptors. And if you pay attention to descriptors, to adjectives, to how the place looks, tastes, feels, smells, all those things, it will lead you to the symbol. Let's read this a couple times. Focus on, and again, thank you, Lino. Focus on those descriptions. That will lead you, or help lead us anyway. I don't think we're going to find it today in discovery. That's okay. You done? Does anybody need more time? Daniela, was a little asleep at the wheel. Need more time? You guys are so quiet. Okay, so how would we describe this place? Lino, you're the one who got us started on this, which was really good. How would you, let me back up a second. So again, we just read 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs about the general's home. Right, exactly. Even more specific than that, 4 paragraphs about the dining room. Okay? A good author, especially in a short story where economy of words is so important. In other words, you have fewer words to get across a whole story. A good writer is not going to spend 4 paragraphs on something that doesn't matter. This matters. Okay? So, what do you see here? What's happening in this scene? Describe it.
In this scene, The general and Rainsford are talking, like they're just talking, and the general is serving Rainsford what to eat.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I want to be specific, and I want to talk about the way the author described this. Maybe it's me. Tell me about this space. Tell me about this room. I want to stick with Lino just for a second. You mentioned food. What are they eating? Is it like?
Cocktail shrimp.
Pardon me?
They're eating shrimp.
They're eating shrimp. Is that right?
Then
Did I miss shrimp?
a cocktail.
Oh, so I don't think it's a shrimp cocktail, although I like the way you're thinking there. I think it's a cocktail as in like a drink. You know, so it's maybe a martini or something like that, if that's something, or margarita. That's something you're familiar with. Okay? So,
They're eating
what are they eating?
red soup.
What kind of red soup? It's important. He wouldn't
Borscht.
give it a name if it wasn't important. What is it, Lino?
Brosh.
It's called borscht, okay? And he tells you right there, that's a really fancy soup from Russia. Okay, it's not like tomato soup, it's not like Campbell's soup. He's not cracking open like chicken and stars for this dude. All right? This is borscht. What else are they eating? Let's stick with that. And or drinking. Come on. Dolores. Champagne. They're not drinking water. They're not drinking wine. They're drinking the finest. They're drinking champagne. And how is the champagne? Is it good?
Yeah.
It's surpassingly good.
Yeah.
It's incredible. What else is it? Tell me more about this room. You've told me about the food. Tell me about the room.
The China's really
The
fancy. And sweet.
And that's really important. The china is really fancy and the ceiling is high. So, thinking about all that, how would we describe this room? What are some words we would use to describe it? Okay. I'm going to steal a word that Clarissa used earlier that is a synonym for fancy. It's elegant. You do not have to write this. Please don't. It's elegant. What are some other words that describe it? I don't see anything magical about it. But fairly, it's a story rooted in fact. It's grounded in romance so much as a story can be. How else would you describe it? Come on, guys. Okay, big. You know, maybe shut it down. Ladies. You guys are killing me. Okay, so I'm going to help you out with some of the groups, what the prior group came up with. Elegant, big. One said modern. I love this one. One person said organized. Go ahead.
They said that there was a table for funerals.
So, what does that mean to you?
Antique.
And what does antique mean to you? When you think of antiques, what do you think of?
Fancy looks.
Right. Yeah, right. That's what, exactly right. Fancy. Wealth. When I think of antiques, I think of like wealth. Okay. My dad, for instance, grew up very poor. He thinks as antiques as used furniture. Okay. So some people have very different perceptions of what antiques are. He hates antiques. It's so fun. All right, guys. So we have this house, and it can be described in these ways. Where is this house located? And I need the ladies who are killing me here. Dolores, where is the house located? On an island. And tell me about life outside the doors of the sorry, I was calling it a castle, the mansion. Once you step outside, what's it like? I want to stick with the ladies for a second. Simple descriptors. What's outside the mansion? What? Okay. Outside is the jungle. How would you, sticking with the ladies, describe the jungle? Okay. And how would you describe any jungle? You don't have to just to help you out. Scary. That's outstanding. I love that you threw a feeling in there. I'll open it up in a second. Anything else? Go ahead.
Smells bad.
Okay, I like it. Smells bad. What'd you say?
Mosses with the butterfly.
I love it. You know you are, Jared. I don't know how the butterflies got involved, but okay. Vines, mosses. I love that. Vines and mosses, I think, are important descriptors. Tall grass.
It's big.
So we have trees versus the elegance of that room. Fright versus organization. Kind of vines and versus organization too. It appears, these almost appear to be, do these appear like, what'd you say?
Well,
You're a stud. Opposites. So I want to leave it here that, because we just ran out of time. That was a brilliant comment. What we're seeing here, we're getting closer. Okay? What we're seeing here is opposites. Okay, these things, two things are in juxtaposition.
not meat and then eat, pretty much.
That's a great way of not meat and neat. So we're gonna look at all this stuff the next time we get together. That's, Reno, it's simple, no, it's simple sounding, but really that's brilliant. Not neat and neat is a very simple way of putting it, okay? We're gonna take a look at these opposites next time, and we are going to, from that, you'll be able to mine out the symbolism, right? Sorry guys, my timer isn't working today, and in fact it is time to rotate. Rotate, last time guys.
Did you get the air refreshener?
Air conditioner?
I passed by and I just turned around like that and I see
Guys, since I have this on videotape, are you guys working over there or playing around? Good, that's what I want to hear. They're dancing off that thing in the corner.